all the really, really strong men out there suppressed and crying? You know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What they're most terrified of? What we're most terrified is of being vulnerable. What we're most terrified of is feeling. And so it takes a real strong and courageous person to feel and allow themselves emotion. It's cowards that run from their emotion, and I do that sometimes too.
Right.
So I absolutely,
yep.
This is a profound thing that I want to talk about at the end of the show, but I want to backtrack too because it's a significant point. So remind me towards the end that we're going to talk about vulnerability and pain and what our society has actually done to us through the individual ego and how it keeps us trapped. Because I want to go back to the points of the science of desire, because laying that foundation is really significant in what we're going to talk about today in the world of duality and polarity, how we've created a world of polarity and how duality and polarity, how you collapse the two, and how that's going to have everything to do with collapsing of time in the next 3 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we talked about this last week. We talked about the science of energy transformation and that all things being particles of energy, everything, and these particles of energy, the differences between one or the other is the speed at which they vibrate, and what affects the speed of all particles of energy is the conscious emotion or energy in motion or energy motive, because motive always determines the outcome. Motive always determines the outcome, and that the two sources of all emotion, all thoughts, all beliefs, all subsequent actions, the two are love and fear, and that we have a very, very confused idea of what love and fear really are. Again, the ego has lied to us and said, basically said it's all backwards. And every time we're having and experiencing pain in our life, we have a chance to actually transform fear into love, because what we fear is always an illusion, amazingly. What it is we fear is always an illusion. However, the energy of fear itself, the emotion of fear itself is very real and it's very destructive, and it cannot be suppressed or avoided or denied or shoved off onto somebody else. It cannot be destroyed. It has to be, because if it's an energy, it has to be transformed. There's no other way. And so everything we attract to us is based on love and fear. And if we began to ask ourselves the question, is this love or fear, then we would understand that subconscious fear has greater power than conscious desire, which is very frustrating to most people. But how do we know if it's in our subconscious whether something is love or fear? Well, you know by the result, because motive determines the result. Love always works to bring us peace, freedom, and fulfillment, and fear never works. And so that is how we know if we're coming from one motive or the other. Now, the science of desire is a connecting principle to this, which we will go into just briefly again to if we're having new people join us, just to go through this. The more we hear it, the more it clunks and the more profound it becomes in our own life. And that is, for every desire we have, how we begin to identify. I'll back up just a bit. How we identify what it is.
And Lily,
right now.
Lily, before you do that, there's a really key question that has to do with all of it, what you're talking about here that somebody put on the chat. They said when working through a desire and the accompanying fear, can the desire change, or is it that the original desire is ill-defined?
Okay, that's a great question. And I'll answer it in explaining the science of desire. I will answer that, because we'll go through the 5 steps and you'll hear the answer to that. Because one of the real frustrations that some of our students are having right now is that they can't identify what their desire is. And we don't go out and look for ways to transform. Life serves it up. Again, life is the training, correct? So we're not having to go out and go, okay, I'm going to transform this facet of the diamond, because the reality is that our issues are pretty much subconscious until we wake up and we experience pain. So where's the pain? Where's the dissonance? It's in the separation between what we desire right now and what we're getting. That's where our current transformation is. what I want right now versus what I'm getting is a dissonant